This is Matt for Into Boxing. I'm delighted to be joined by one of the hottest young prospects in Britain right now, Hopey Price. Hopey, you're here for the undercard, Josh Warrington versus Kiko Martinez. You must be delighted to be back in Leeds.
Over the moon to be back here, back boxing in my hometown. Another big card. I was on the one in Headingley, and now in the first direct arena, it's going to be good to put on another good performance for the fans.
You're having big occasion after big occasion. When you think you were involved in fight camp, you were then involved in Headingley, you know, a lot of pressure. You're only 21, and now you're going to the Leeds first direct arena. How much of a buzz do you get out of this, knowing that you've got your home comforts and you get to put on a display for your fans?
This is what I'm in boxing for, you know. When I first turned professional, I believe I signed with the best promotional deal in the business, which is Eddie and Matchroom Boxing. And from my second fight, I boxed Manchester Arena, Saudi Arabia on the Joshua Bill.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Shout out, yeah, go on. I've
done all the fight camps, Headingley Stadium, and now back here in Leeds. Every single fight's on a big card, on a big occasion, and it's down to me to keep putting on these good performances. And there's no better place than doing it at home, having all your home fans behind you. So I thrive with it even more.
Not just that. Last time you were out, you didn't just put on a performance. You didn't seem to feel the pressure. There was a lot of pressure. You know, when people talk about early fights, there might not be like a huge crowd there. There were a lot of people for your fight there already, crowded around ringside, ready to watch you. And you didn't crumble under pressure. You put on a performance, and people saw a little bit of spite in you that they'd not seen in the other fights. You dealt with a tricky fight at fight camp. It's escaping me, but I remember that performance. You dealt with him well, but you showed a bit more of your aggressive side and your power in that fight, and you got the knockout victory. Is that something you're happy with, that you're not, you know, almost feeling the pressure and that you're coping under this sort of occasion?
You know, with it being at home, it was a local derby, both from Leeds. I think everyone was trying to add the pressure, but diamonds are made under pressure, aren't they? That's what I believe. So I always knew what was going to happen. I live for this. I live for the packed out arenas. The more, the better. The bigger the occasion, the better. I want to prove how good I am. So to have everybody there, and that's what brought out that performance in me. And every time that happens, that's what'll come out. So I did say I was going to steal the show, and I believe that from the last show in Headingley, I think I was getting talked about the most after that. So I'm going to do the same here again.
Absolutely, yeah. 100%, I'll agree with you. As soon as it was over, all everyone was talking about was that knockout, was that performance. Have we got another superstar on his hands here? Because people talk about age, but obviously if you're old enough and good enough, you'll get there, kind of thing. But Leeds Direct Arena, do you look at these arenas, and you're obviously looking at Josh now, he's the main event. Is this sort of your path to say, you know what, as we progress, another couple of years, it'll be Price versus such and such defending a world title or fighting for one?
1,000,000%. He's coming towards the end of the career now, and luckily we're still back here at home, because he was going to go to America and fight and things like that. And he's done all three, and he's done Ellen Road, he's done Headingley, and he's done the first direct arena multiple times. And that was something I looked at as a kid, but now it's here and happening, and I believe it won't be that long. You know, I believe once I start picking up the titles, once I'm boxing, I'm putting on the good performances, all the Leeds fans, you know, get behind me, and all my own support, and I will be the next one to do it, and the next one to be topping these bills and keep boxing alive in this city.
We talk about this city, but have you got aspirations to maybe, you know, dip your feet in the water abroad, you know, maybe get on an undercard show? Obviously, Eddie puts obviously his time into young fighters and people. You'll want him to maybe say, look, we've got a show in New York, you can go on first to second, just so you can get used to that. Is that a dream of yours?
Definitely. You know, I boxed all over the world as an amateur, and I'd like to do the same as professional. So I would like to go across to the pond to America and have a fight there. You know, for me, I'd like to fight in as many different places, as many big shows as possible. The wheels there, look, I come from a travelling community, so wherever I go, I make home.
Absolutely. What do you make of how your community's got behind you? You know, Travellers Boxing, we've talked about it before, they breed some incredible fighters, from Fury to Saunders, you know, yourself. There's so many different fighters. Why is it that this community keeps breeding some of the best fighters this country's seen? Because it's non-stop, they keep churning them out. Is it in the genes? Is it something you bred with, like that fighting mentality?
I believe it's born in us, you know. Other kids is brought up playing football as young kids. We give a pair of boxing gloves and say, knock the shit out of each other. That's what we do. We see it as like it's a bit of sport. It's fun. Like fighting for us is fun. Like I love to fight, and I think that's why we keep turning out so many good fighters. But I think over the past couple of years, the boys are starting to realise that there's money to be earned. There's a career. And they've seen the likes of Tyson Fury and Billy Joe Saunders do it, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot more stick at it and a lot more come through, and I'll be the next one, behind them to go on and win world honours.
I know it's hard to say, but how quickly do you want to be moving for these big titles? Does this come down to you and having that right team behind you? We've got Dave Caldwell, one of the best trainers in the country by a mile. He's in that bracket. Well, yeah, exactly, the best. So, is it down to you two talking and just mapping out a road to get you to the top?
Do you know what? I leave that down to Dave and down to Eddie. Whoever they tell me to fight, whenever they tell me to fight, I'll fight. That's not a problem. And it's hard to put a time on them sort of things. Things can happen, injuries or everything go to plan. I'll be as busy as possible, fight for as many titles as possible, as quick as possible. That's how I see it. I'm a fighter, and I believe that'll be. I'll add a few more titles to collection this year, and looking towards the domestic titles towards the end of the year and early next year, and then from then on it's full steam ahead. We can fight over.
Absolutely. Now Tyson Fury, it looks like he's going to be having this purse bid carry on with Dillian Whyte. Forget that side of it, forget the business side of it. Talk to me about what happens if he fights Dillian Whyte next. What happens in that fight? Dillian's been waiting for a chance at a title for years. It looks like, it might change by the time this interview goes out, so just a bit of a disclaimer. If something gets announced in the next hour, this interview is still going out later on anyway. But if it's Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte, break that down. What happens in that fight?
I believe with regards to him being challenger for 3 years to be number one in the world, he's waited so long for his opportunity. I think that could play a bit of a downfall, because he's going to come and try to win so hard, especially with someone like Fury. He's going to be giving it all the antics in the build-up, and for me, I'm not just saying it because I'm from the same community, but I believe he's the best heavyweight on the planet by a country mile. I think he showed he can do it all. He's got the heart. He's also got the boxing brain. He's got the size. He's got everything. I believe Tyson Fury wins that fight comfortable. I think this time he'll sit back and box a bit more and be clever and try and take him later on.
Should be interesting to see how it goes. Listen, Hopey Price, thanks for talking to Into Boxing. Listen, get behind him, follow him on his journey. One of the hottest prospects in this country by a mile. Hopey, thanks for talking to Into. Appreciate it, bud.